Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're getting ready for job interviews in English, this lesson is exactly what you need. Today we're diving into 15 powerful phrasal verbs that will help you sound more natural, confident, and professional during interviews. These are real expressions that hiring managers love to hear. Here's what we've got lined up for you. First, we'll break down each phrasal verb with its meaning and 3 clear examples so you can really understand how to use it. Next, we'll look at 2 short interview-style conversations that bring these verbs to life in a realistic setting. Then it's quiz time. We'll do a quick fill-in-the-blank challenge to test your understanding. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a full interview conversation where you'll see these phrasal verbs used naturally, just like in a real job interview. So grab a pen and notebook if you'd like, and let's jump right in.
Section 1. Starting and planning. Bring up. Bring up. To mention or introduce a topic for discussion. Examples. I'd like to bring up my experience with team projects during the interview. She brought up a great suggestion in the meeting yesterday. Don't bring up your old boss's mistakes. It's unprofessional. Come up with. To create or think of an idea or solution. Examples. I came up with a new strategy to improve customer feedback. We need to come up with a budget plan by Friday. He came up with a funny name for our group chat. Set up. Set up. To arrange or establish something for use. Examples. I set up a training session for the new hires last month. They set up a meeting to discuss the project timeline. We set up a picnic table by the lake for the weekend. Take on. Take on. To accept a responsibility or challenge. Examples. I'm ready to take on more leadership roles in this position. She took on extra tasks when her colleague was absent. He took on a tough hiking trail despite the rain. Kick off. Kick off. To start an event or process. Examples. We kicked off the campaign with a team brainstorming session. The manager kicked off the meeting with some good news. They kicked off the party with music and snacks.
All right, now it's time to put these phrasal verbs into action. Let's look at 2 short practical conversations that show how these expressions sound in real job interview scenarios. And don't worry, you don't need to use every phrasal verb in every sentence. In real conversations, it's more important to sound natural and clear than to squeeze in every phrase you've learned. These examples are just here to give you inspiration and show how these verbs can fit into your answers naturally. So listen closely, pay attention to the context, and imagine how you might use some of these in your own interview answers.
Tell me about a time you showed initiative at work.
Certainly. I'd like to bring up a project where I noticed our team was falling behind on deadlines. I came up with an idea to streamline our process by creating a shared task list. I set up the system myself using a simple app and trained everyone on it. Then, I took on the role of checking progress daily to keep us on track. We kicked off the new approach the next week, and it cut our delays by half. It felt great to see it work.
That's impressive. How did your team react?
They were grateful I brought up the issue and took on the lead. It really kicked off a more organized way of working together.
Conversation 2.
Can you describe a time when you led something new?
Yes, I'd like to bring up a time when our team needed a better way to train new employees. I came up with a training plan to help them settle in quickly. I set up workshops and materials, and I took on the job of working with HR. We kicked off the program last quarter, and it really helped improve retention.
How did you make sure it worked well?
I set up regular feedback sessions and took on changes as needed. It was a strong start.
Section 2. Investigating. Look into. To research or examine something closely. Examples. I'll look into the company's policies before my start date. She looked into the customer complaints to find the root cause. We need to look into different options before deciding. Find out. To learn or discover new information. Examples. We found out the meeting was canceled just in time. I just found out that she's moving to another city. Can you find out what time the meeting starts? Figure out. To solve or understand something by thinking. Examples. I figured out how to fix a software glitch on my own. They figured out the best way to schedule shifts. He figured out the puzzle faster than anyone else. Check out. To review or look at something briefly. Examples. I checked out your company website to prepare for this interview. She checked out the new tools before recommending them. We checked out a cool cafe downtown last weekend. Dig into. To investigate or study something deeply. Examples. I need to dig into these files before the meeting. He dug into the issue and solved it within hours. She dug into her homework as soon as she got home. Conversation 1.
How do you approach a new project?
When I start something new, I first look into all the details, what's expected, who's involved, and the timeline. For example, in my last role, I found out we were losing clients due to slow responses. I dug into the numbers and checked out our email system to pinpoint the delay. Then I figured out we needed a better tracking tool, which I proposed to my boss. It made a big difference in keeping clients happy.
How long did that take you?
Not long. Once I dug into it and found out the cause, I checked out solutions and had it sorted in a week.
Conversation 2.
How do you ensure you're well prepared for a task?
I begin by looking into the requirements thoroughly. In my previous position, I found out our team was overspending on supplies, so I dug into the expense reports to identify patterns. I checked out alternative vendors and figured out a way to reduce costs by 15%. My manager appreciated the detailed approach I took.
Did that require much effort?
Yes, but digging into the data helped me figure out a solid plan quickly.
Section 3. Organizing. Workout. To plan or solve something successfully. Examples. I worked out a schedule that fit everyone's availability. They worked out a deal to share resources with another team. She worked out how to fix her bike tire herself. Sort out. To fix or organize a problem or situation. Examples. I sorted out the filing mess in the office in one afternoon. He sorted out a misunderstanding between two co-workers. We sorted out our travel plans for the holiday. Plan out. To arrange or design a detailed plan. Examples. I planned out my presentation to cover all key points. She planned out the team's tasks for the next quarter. He planned out a road trip with stops along the way. Layout. To present or arrange something clearly. Examples. I laid out my ideas for the project in a clear email. They laid out the budget plan for everyone to review. She laid out her clothes for the week every Sunday. Line up. To arrange or prepare things in order. Examples. I lined up 3 references for this job application. He lined up the team for a quick briefing before starting. We lined up chairs for the outdoor movie night. Conversation 1.
How do you stay organized under pressure?
I'm good at managing chaos. For instance, in my last job, we had a huge event coming up, and nothing was ready. I worked out a step-by-step timeline to keep us on track and sorted out the mess of overlapping tasks by assigning clear roles. I planned out every detail, catering, setup, everything, and laid out the schedule in a shared doc so everyone knew what to do. Then, I lined up backup suppliers just in case. The event went off perfectly, and my boss said my organization saved the day.
How do you make sure you don't miss anything?
I double-check my plans and sort out any hiccups early. Once it's laid out, I stick to it.
Conversation 2.
Can you give an example of managing a complex task?
Certainly. In my previous role, I was tasked with launching a new product line under a tight deadline. I worked out a detailed timeline with milestones and sorted out resource conflicts by reallocating staff. I planned out the marketing strategy to align with our goals and laid out the steps in a presentation for the team. I also lined up external partners to assist with distribution. The launch was a success, exceeding sales targets by 10%.
What was the key to that?
Planning out everything carefully and lining up support ensured we stayed on course.
All right. Time to test what you've learned with a quick quiz. We'll show you a few sentences with missing phrasal verbs, and your job is to fill in the blanks using the ones we've covered in this lesson. Feel free to pause the video after each question so you can think about your answer. Then just hit play when you're ready to check the correct one. This is a great way to reinforce your learning and make sure you're ready to use these verbs in your own interviews. Let's get started. Let's wrap it up with one last full interview answer using lots of today's verbs. Thank you for coming in today. Let's start. Can you tell me about a time when you took the lead on something important at work?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to bring up a project from my last role. Our team was struggling with the delayed client reports, and no one had a clear solution. I decided to take on the challenge myself because I saw an opportunity to make a difference.
Interesting. How did you begin?
Well, I started by looking into the issue to understand why we were falling behind. I dug into the process and found out that our old system wasn't tracking deadlines properly. It was a bit of a mess. So I had to figure out a better way to manage it.
What did you do next?
I came up with an idea to use a shared online dashboard. Before moving forward, I checked out some tools to see which one would work best for us. Then I set up a trial version and tested it with a small group to make sure it was practical.
How did you get the team on board?
I laid out the plan in a team meeting. I explained how it would save time and reduce stress. I planned out the transition carefully, step by step, so no one felt overwhelmed. Then I lined up a training session to show everyone how to use it. We kicked off the new system the following Monday.
That sounds thorough. Were there any challenges?
Yes, there were a few hiccups at first. Some team members weren't sure it would work. I had to sort out their concerns by addressing questions one-on-one. I also worked out a backup plan in case the tool failed, but thankfully it didn't.
How did it turn out in the end?
It was a success. After a month, we found out that report delays dropped by 40%, and the team was much happier. My manager even asked me to take on more projects like that because I'd shown I could work out solutions under pressure.
Impressive. Why do you think you succeeded?
I think it was because I didn't just jump in. I took the time to look into the root cause, dig into the details, and plan out every step. Plus, I made sure to line up support from the team and set up something sustainable. It wasn't just a quick fix. It was a real improvement.
That's a strong example. Do you enjoy that kind of work?
Definitely. I love being able to come up with ideas and kick off changes that help everyone. It's rewarding to sort out problems and see the results.
Great to hear. One last question. How would you approach a similar situation here?
I'd start the same way. Check out what's needed, figure out the best approach, and lay out a clear plan. I'd bring up any ideas in team discussions and work out the details to ensure success. I'm ready to take on whatever comes my way.
Excellent. Thank you. That gives me a clear picture of your skills. All right, that's it for today's episode. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment with your favorite phrasal verb or one you've used in an interview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.